It's another beautiful day out today. I haven't actually been out most of this week just because I've been busy doing work and other stuff, and I thought I'd take a slightly longer route to go and buy my lunch today. I am really starting to struggle this time with keto. It's a mental thing. I don't know what it is. Wednesday I had a stinking headache, didn't feel particularly great. I didn't get the keto flu the last time, definitely had it this time. I'm through it, I'm back in ketosis. I was just struggling with cravings. That week of just eating everything I wanted probably didn't do me much good, but hey ho, it is Friday today. It's Friday, and I completely forgot that yesterday was my wife's birthday. I didn't forget that it was her birthday, but I didn't put two and two together and realise that it was the same night that we were doing the T2.5 out to Zwift race. And I kind of decided, given recent events, that I wouldn't ask to spend 2 hours on the bike on her birthday. So unfortunately I missed it. It also means I haven't done my workout that I was due to do. I'll put that up on the screen now. So I'm going to have to do that today. I'm not looking forward to this one. This one looks like it's going to be quite painful, but I'm going to go get some lunch, and probably after work tonight jump on and do that. So let's see how that goes. This workout then is called Violator. It works on neuromuscular power and aerobic capacity, basically through a series of lots and lots of sprints. 10-minute warm-up, lots of sprints in it with varying degrees of recovery time between each of those sprints. As it says on the screen then, it will be sprinting a lot, 64 times in total, split into 3 different sections. So you've got the second section, you get slightly less recovery time between the sprints than the first section, and the third one you get slightly less recovery time again, and there are slightly fewer sprints in the second and then the third section as well. One thing I really wish the system would work on, and hopefully it's in the pipeline, the white writing on the video background is really difficult to read, especially if you're in the middle of a workout on a screen that hasn't got that good contrast. It's quite difficult. As you can see there, it's really difficult to read what is being written on the screen, and you can miss important information, which is something I think that needs to be changed. Even if it's just got a simple background on the text, it would be a lot easier to read. But at the moment, we're in the middle of the workout, 10-minute workout that is working up towards FTP. The FTP is that white line that you can see on the chart at the bottom. And we're just working up towards FTP level at a nice comfortable 90 cadence at the moment. It does step up to a slightly higher cadence when you were doing the ones that are nearer to FTP level. Essentially, I think what it's doing is simulating hills. So this one's up to 110 RPM as a cadence, and we've hit 265 watts as part of the warm-up, and then it'll drop down very, very slightly before starting those sprints again. And at the moment, I remember thinking that actually, when I saw the profile of this workout, I thought this was going to be quite difficult. But actually, between each of the sprints is quite a low level watt effort. So I thought actually, I'm thinking I should be able to recover between each of these sprints. And maybe it won't be as bad as what I've kind of built it up in my head to be. But I guess we'll have to wait and see how it goes. Before hitting the first sprint, it actually popped up on the screen and said, make sure you're not in erg mode for these sprints, because I think you just need to put a maximum effort in. It sets targets on the screen, but I think you just need to go at your max effort. So I quickly paused the workout, jumped off the bike, put it into level 1 gradient, and jumped back on and carried on. I found that quite useful actually, because after the sprints, sometimes if you have to let right off and you've got, say, a target of 90 cadence, if you let right off after a sprint, you could actually cause erg mode to get more difficult for yourself, and then have to put down quite a hard effort to get the bike back, because obviously it's ramping up trying to get to the set number of watts. And if you slow down to say 40 RPM, obviously the difficulty in the trainer goes up. So I found it quite useful being out of erg mode to be able to just quite easily bring myself back up to the cadence and the watts targets. Heading into the first sprint here then, so it's going to up to 110 cadence, and it still sets the watts targets of 847. This is a very quick 5-second sprint, so as you can see I'm trying my hardest. I overshoot the cadence quite a lot, don't get near the watts target, but I think as you're not in erg mode, it took me a few efforts of these to get where I needed to be in the gearing to get anywhere near the targets that I've got. So between each of these sections is a 30-second recovery time. So it's a 5-second sprint, a 30-second recovery time, just about to go again, back up to 110. And I think I kind of get a little bit better as I go at working out the gearing, because not being erg mode, you have to change the gears yourself. And I was flipping between the big ring and the little ring, trying to get the power up as well as the cadence, and then drop it off again, ready for the 30 seconds recovery time. But it took a couple to get used to that. But I think I kind of got there, and I kept reading the messages on the screen. It was more about going all out. So whilst it's giving targets on the screen for each of the sprints and watt levels, I kind of ignored those and just gave everything I could to that specific sprint. So I think we did 10, maybe 12 of these 5-second sprints in the first tiny section, and then they ramp up to 10-second sprints where you get slightly more recovery time. We're heading into one of those longer sprints now, still giving the target of 110 cadence. The power target on the screen is actually coming down slightly each of the sprints, but as I said, I'm not really focusing on power. I'm just putting in as much as I can. Some of these I stayed seated for. There are a couple of sprints that I did try and do stood up. This one obviously is a lot longer recovery time. I think it was a 45-second. No, it looks like it might have been a minute recovery time between each of these actually in the first section. It didn't feel too bad, but as I was going through these sprints and realizing how much it was taking out of me, and looking ahead and realizing that the recovery time was going to drop off, I kind of, at this stage, had an idea of what was coming and how difficult it was going to be further into this workout. In terms of time wise, this first section takes up, I think, more than half of the actual hour-long workout, but obviously it gets a lot more difficult as we get further into it. So going into this slightly longer sprints now, so there are 6 15-second sprints here. These are obviously given a slightly lower target. I tried to pace myself a bit better on these ones rather than going completely all out if I could. And it was, these ones are, you really felt it towards the end of the 15 seconds. I could really feel it in my legs. Nice 1.5 minute recovery period though for these. You can see on my face I've struggled with that one a bit there. And as I said, my cadence dropped there to about 40. Just letting off everything I could because I gave everything for the sprint. Just letting the cadence drop, recover the legs slightly before bringing it back up, which is why I was thankful I wasn't in erg mode. But we do 6 of these sprints in this one, so that's a 15-second sprint followed by a 1.5 minute recovery time before we head on to the next section, which gives you less recovery time. Slightly fewer sprints as well, which is good. Heading into the final sprint of the first section, I'm really looking ahead at those next 2 sections thinking, how on earth am I going to get through these? Final sprint, I'd stood up for the first part. I didn't really put out particularly high sprint power in this because what I'd done already up to this point had really taken it out of me. But into a nice 3-minute recovery time now, so just dropping everything down, cadence, power, just turning the legs over, getting ready to go into the next section and kind of getting a little bit worried about it. Heading into that second section then, on the screen it says you'll have fewer sprints but less recovery time. 10 5-second sprints, 8 10-second sprints and 4 15-second sprints with fewer minutes, fewer seconds rest between them, and 15 seconds rest between the first sprints. So that's down from 30 seconds to 15. So it's quite a big drop off. And heading into this first section, I've recovered a bit. I feel slightly better. I could put some power down. Don't get anywhere near the 800 that was on the screen, just about a 650 in the end there. But still looking forward to the recovery time. And the recovery, this really does build it up in your legs massively, and it only gets worse as you get into this section. So about to start the next sprint, trying to put more effort in. I think I was up into the 700s at that point and then dropping off, trying my best to get as high as I can. Some of these sprints I felt that I could just go all out and I'd recovered a bit, and some of them I just felt I need to put out what I can and then recover in the next section of recovery. Heading into the slightly longer sprints here then. These are the 10-second sprints, but you can see in the middle of those 5-second sprints I missed a couple. The recovery time, I was really feeling it, and I just couldn't get my legs going. I needed a few more seconds to recover. Obviously putting a lot of work into my legs. I'm not used to short recovery times. I'm not used to sprinting. It's not something I really ever do. So I'm really starting to feel the lower levels of recovery time between each of these sections. And again, in my head, I'm thinking, how on earth am I going to do that third section where it's even less recovery time? But I do get through these. The slightly longer sprints, I really do start to feel at the end. The 10-second ones aren't as bad. The 5-second ones are okay. The 10-second ones clearly are slightly more difficult. The 15-second ones, by the end of those sprints, my legs are feeling, I can feel the pain in my legs, and it's a real struggle to keep the power going. Going into those sprints now then, the longer 15-second sprints, and I mean, the target on the screen is only 388, and I know I said I didn't really pay attention to the target and it tells you not to, but clearly it knows that you're not going to be putting out the level that you would at the start of the sprint, even in that section, but comparative to the prior section as well. And you can probably slightly tell on the bottom that I'm not, whatever theoretical targets it's putting in, I'm not quite achieving those in each of the sections, but I am giving everything I can in most of the sprints. There are a few that I put some power out, but it's not an all-out effort because I didn't have the recovery in me to do it. These are 45-second breaks between each of these 15-second sprints, and there are 4 of them. And we get to the end of those, and I'm quite pleased for these to end as well. 2 minutes 45 recovery after this one then, so even less recovery than you get on the previous sections. So your recovery between the sections is less, along with the recovery between the sprints, and I'm really starting to feel it here. In fact, I'm feeling a bit sick, shaking my head, trying to make myself feel a little bit better, worrying about what's coming up in terms of the sprint. But the thing that is getting me through this is the number in the bottom right hand corner. 9 minutes 23 seconds to go of an hour-long workout. In terms of time, I am well through most of the workout. So I can just give everything I've got in this final 9 minutes, a lot of which is recovery time. And that's kind of making that, in my mind, that's giving me a positive side to what is about to come. As I said, I'm still thinking to myself, how on earth am I going to do this? I've never done a workout that was this taxing on my legs. I'm really starting to feel it. But yeah, let's jump forward and have a look at those final sprints. So in this final section then, 8 5-second sprints, 6 10-second sprints, and 2 15-second sprints. And the duration of recovery is the same time as the sprint is. So a lot less recovery time between these. 5-second sprints only get a 5-second recovery. So you're on, off, on, off, on, off. And we're about to go into this first one. I remember thinking, I'm dreading this, absolutely dreading it. About to step in now. So we go off for the 5-second sprint, and I kind of give what I've got. My legs are really not recovered from the previous section, despite the 2.5 minutes recovery time. And I give what I can for the first few sprints. And I'm going to be honest, I come down to the next few and I don't hit the target. In fact, there is a couple in this section, I think, where I don't even try because my legs just don't have it. I need to give my legs more. I thought to myself, if I give my legs more recovery time, I can hit the final few sprints. And as you can see here, I'm only at 210 watts at that stage. I'm just cycling. I'm not my mind went as well. So I couldn't work out when I was supposed to be sprinting, when I was supposed to be backing off and recovering. I just couldn't work any of it out. And eventually I go again, as you can see on the screen, try and get myself back into the workout and try and get myself going again before hitting the slightly longer sprints within the section. And then the final couple of sprints then that we're about to hit now, the 15-second sprints, which, as I said, at the end of those 15 seconds, you are really, really starting to feel it in your legs, and you have no recovery time at all. Certainly not enough recovery time for me, but I guess that's the whole point in these workouts, is to really tax your system, push beyond what you can do to kind of get to those future gains. When the workout came to an end, I was so thankful. I had to sit down. I had to sit down for a long time to recover. 3-minute cool down after this. I really you didn't see that on my face there. I genuinely given that everything that I possibly could have. And yeah, having to sit down afterwards, trying not to be sick, trying to recover. I did do the 3-minute cool down. I did feel a bit better for it after those 3 minutes, but what a workout. I'm definitely not looking forward to having to do it again. If it ever pops up on another workout, it's not fun. I thought I'd be able to do the sprinter ones. I thought I can do that because I get the recovery time in between, but I ran out of recovery time. I ran out of time to give my legs that rest from the full-on power. So I thought it would be the endurance ones that I struggle with more, which is still yet to come, but definitely pushed to my limits on this one. Did I enjoy it? Enjoy might not be the right word. Am I pleased I did it? Definitely. And I'm hoping I can feel the benefits from it.
So I'm currently on the Saturday morning bandy group ride. I woke up this morning and I thought, my legs feel quite fresh. I was expecting to, after yesterday's efforts in that workout, I was thinking I'm going to struggle to even walk tomorrow. But I felt all right until I got on the bike. My legs do not want to go around this morning. They really do not. I'm going to keep it going. At least I can go at a slow pace and be kept up with the group, with the band. I'm hoping, we're only sort of 5 minutes in, I'm hoping maybe they'll loosen up a little bit after a couple of minutes and I can push a little bit more, but definitely feeling the efforts of that workout in my legs today.
I did get my legs back a little bit in that ride. It was a very low level. I'm talking 0.5, 0.6 watts per kilogram ride, because that's all I could really put out. It was a weird one. After I did that workout, during the workout, I felt really, really spent. It really took a lot out of me. I've never really, aside from a race, I've not done a workout that's done that to me before. Normally after a race, I'd feel it for the next day. The workout, after I jumped off and kind of recovered, I felt okay. And as I mentioned before during Saturday ride, I thought I felt okay in the morning. I got up, my legs didn't hurt, no issues, until I started to pedal stroke. And then instantly I felt it. So it obviously worked my muscles in a totally different way and affected me in a different way to what a normal race would do. But as I said, I'm really pleased I did it. It was really hard. And I wonder what else we've got coming up in the future workouts, but we'll see those coming up. I want to quickly mention again about the keto. So I have really, really struggled mentally, and I think that's because of the other things that I mentioned in the last video that have been going on. And it still shows where my mindset is. So weight-wise, I put on 7 pounds in that sort of 2-week period where I was just stuffing my face full of everything. And I think, as I've mentioned this a lot of times, it is a huge mental thing. I guess an addiction. I guess it really is. It's difficult to understand food as an addiction because you've got to have food. But I just went off the rails and I ate everything, cakes, takeaways, chocolate, the works, because that's where my mind defaulted to. And I'd hoped, because I'd done so well for a couple of months, that maybe some of that would have naturally disappeared over time. Like it kind of has with the cycling, because the cycling, I just naturally get on the bike now. I'm hoping I'd naturally make better choices and stop wanting to eat all the rubbish, but I didn't. And it's a mindset. It's something up here that I struggle with, and I think it's going to take a long, long time to change that. And the good thing this time is I've caught it early. It's a couple of weeks off. I'm back on keto. I am struggling. I'm struggling like I didn't the first time. I definitely had a day where my head was pounding. I didn't feel great. I've had a few toilet issues, which I did have the first time. So obviously getting back into that ketosis, I was hoping it would be an easier transition than it has been. And being out and about, I think because I've had that period where I've been out and eaten what I wanted, and it's not at the very beginning of a new diet. You get that new diet bounce. You're like, yeah, I'm on it. I'm not going to eat that. I'm only going to eat that. This feels very different, and it's been difficult, but I have stuck to it. So that's the main thing, apart from a small slice of cake on my wife's birthday. So yeah, back in ketosis. I'm pushing through, struggling with it, but hopefully I'll get there. And hopefully I'll lose that half a stone in time for my brother's wedding, but we shall see. I've bought so many clothes, shirts, shorts for my brother's wedding that I genuinely never done this before. All online, it's all turned up, and I can't decide what to wear. I'm going to have to do some sort of fashion show for my wife, and we'll pick what we're going to wear for the wedding, because I haven't got a clue. So that's my fun weekend ahead of me. But I didn't do the race this week, as you know. It's a shame that I missed it, and I do want to do an Alp again. I haven't done an Alp in a long time. I think I feel strong. I feel good. I feel like I probably beat my best time. I want to do it, but I need to fit it in against my amongst my workouts, which have fallen sort of a day behind, and I've got a stretch of every other day coming up. So it's not going to happen yet, but I think hopefully before I go away for the wedding, I will be able to jump on and see how this training plan has affected me on an Alp ride. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested. If you want to join our rides, the T2.5 rides, all the information is in the description below, along with signing up on Facebook and Discord. Those are the two best places to find out about the rides, because I put the posts up there weekly and even daily for the rides that we do. And they're part of our community. There's some great chat that happens on Discord and stuff. So if you want to join those, link is in the description below. You can follow me on Zwift, on Strava, all of that stuff. And I'll follow you back. And that is the end of this week's video. Yeah, I feel beaten up a bit. I do feel it in my legs now, but I'm stepping forward in the right direction, and I'm back on the weight loss. So feeling good. I'm feeling motivated for what I've probably got 2 weeks left in the training plan, 2 or 3 weeks. Which I'll show to all of you guys. If you're interested, subscribe, like this video and all that stuff, and you can see that coming up. But I'll catch you on the next one.